Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're going to talk about Veru, which has jumped up 182%, which is incredible stuff. Like, you don't see stocks jumping up that much that often. So when you do see something like that, you probably want to take notice of it, and you probably wonder why. Like when Elon buys Twitter, like not even Twitter jumps up by that much. So this is incredible stuff to see a stock jump up that much in just one day. So basically, they had a COVID product which has tested really, really well. So it's basically performed a meaningful 55% reduction in deaths. So basically, that's incredibly good because basically, when I saw those results, when the data was independently looked at, everyone was quite happy with it, that they stopped the trials early. So when they stop trials early, it means the data is just overwhelmingly good. So and in the future, if say like they thought, oh, actually it wasn't enough, then they could still just continue those trials. But to stop it early means the results are incredibly good. Like 55% reduction is, yeah, like if someone told you, hey, we could reduce your chance of death by 55%, you'd be pretty happy. Like, you'd take it, you know. So basically, the company's going to meet with the FDA to seek emergency use. So, you know, that basically signals that they have, a strong commercial potential in a very short time frame if they can get this emergency use kind of right, to the forefront. And particularly watching, say, like China right now and them experiencing a rapid rise in COVID, you kind of know that COVID's not over, that it's still going to be here for a bit longer than we would like. So when you look at a company like this that's specializing in this sort of drug, it kind of makes you want to take a second look. Like, you would probably, you'd do it out of just educational purposes, if not just to be more knowledgeable on what's out there, because COVID's, kind of spreading everywhere around the world to even people we know. And basically, it's actually nice to know what's around, like even just on a medical kind of situation, what treatments are available. And if you're, a stock investor, which if you're watching this video, chances are you do invest in stocks. So it kind of makes you take notice as well that, hey, the stocks that you invest in have a very meaningful influence on everyday life as well, because these are real companies doing real things. So basically, to sum it up, this drug has done really, really well. But overall, like if we look at the numbers, like they've done it on 155 hospitalized COVID patients, which was in a high risk kind of stage. So basically, 150 is meaningful enough that it's kind of something that you could go to the FDA and go, if we continue this with more people, potentially we're going to continue to see more data, but we've already seen meaningful results already that we would find this useful for more people to start using, and we could prevent more deaths. So that's basically what they're proposing here, that they've seen very nice conclusive results, that they're happy with this. So basically, the trials were conducted in the US, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, and Bulgaria. So basically, it's spread out into a few countries, and I've done it on 150 patients. Originally, it was so basically, they've done a trial design which was originally for 210 hospitalized patients. Though they had split this up into kind of like a placebo group as well. So patients were randomized in a 2-to-1 ratio. So the medication is called sabizalin, or however you want to pronounce that. So the first things first, like when I look at such a company that's done so well, I firstly look at what their cash assets are. If you don't have the cash, then it's not going to bode very well. So this is the quarterly that they recently reported. They hold 116 million in cash at the end of last year, December 31st. And if you compare that to the last year, September 30th, they had 122 million, so the cash burn isn't incredibly large over that 3 months. Liabilities don't seem too bad. Like overall, there's not really anything to worry about in terms of liabilities. Net revenue for that quarter was 14 million. Gross profit, which is minus the cost of sale, is basically 11.8 million. But most important part of all is what is their research expense. It's at 10 million. It doubled from last year, which is all right in that sense if they're generating a healthy gross profit. Selling and general administrative, that's 6.7 million. Total operating expenses 16 million. Operating loss of around 5 million. Which is kind of alright because you're holding well over 100 million. So in terms of the cash burn for that 3 months, if you're burning 5 million every quarter, that's around 20 million every year, which, is more than enough for them at this current stage. Though if they want to make this commercial and start, getting this product out there, it might start costing them a lot more. Though currently the cash amount in their bank is looking very healthy. The cash burn is alright. So overall financials look alright. It's a healthy company. What is this comparing to? So basically, this is a company that's worth $983 million as of today's close at $12.28. So overall, they've got a product that's performed overwhelmingly good. Though when a share price jumps up this much, you want to also be very considerate that, hey, potentially this stock might pull back quite a bit as well, because anything that goes up that much probably has some profit takers as well. Though, you can be your own judge and go, is this something you want to FOMO into, or do you want to watch carefully and see what's going up next? So, like, when you look at such a situation, if you can't resist, then you just buy a little bit. If you can resist, then you just hold and watch and see how things go for the time being. But so far, the drug looks pretty good. But we have to kind of like step back and go, we can't just FOMO immediately. We got to look at the overall situation. So financials seem all right. They can manage themselves if this, needs more time, if they need to do more trials. So overall, that's okay. You can also look at their presentation. Presentation-wise, you can see what the other drugs are. They're specializing in breast cancer, prostate cancer, and as you see, the COVID drug right here. This is the one that's kind of made the stock pop up quite a bit. They have another sexual health division, which is where the revenue's coming in. So net revenue for 2021 for the full year was 60 million for this. Operating income 44, net revenues 14, and overall, their net revenues 2020 was 42 million, jumped to 61 million. So overall, the company's kind of coming up fairly well in that sense. They have this product also in this division, which was approved in December 2021. So that product's just only beginning to start, to commercialize as well. So the company doesn't rely too heavily on this COVID drug. It can actually sustain itself through its other products as well. So in a way, you've got a very nice diversified company. Though the revenues are still growing at a decent rate, but if the COVID product doesn't get an immediate approval, then the stock might drop down a little bit. But still, I think it's okay in that sense. So one thing I just noticed here as well, that's sabizilin, however you want to pronounce that. They use 9 milligrams here for COVID, but for the prostate cancer, they actually use the same drug as well, and they use 32 milligrams. And for the breast cancer, they also use the same drug as well. So that's quite interesting that they're actually using the same drug for all these, except in different portions. So yeah, it must be this kind of drug that they're using here that actually is making quite a considerable difference. That, hey, if it works with COVID, chances are, is it going to work with prostate cancer, breast cancer, and even other things as well? So, potentially this company has a lot of potential ahead of it. So yeah, it's so far, like, you can see where they're at with this situation of the breast cancer drugs. They're in either phase 2 or phase 3, which is quite good progress. And then with the prostate cancer, phase 2 and phase 3 as well. And with the COVID drug, they're in phase 3. So overall, this company is kind of in a very nice spot where a lot of the drugs are actually in a very good phase. That potentially, if this COVID one works out really well and gives a really nice cash boost, they can just like put it into these other drugs, and it's just gonna really compound really, really well. So potentially, this company is potentially a very, very high potential company. But before you start to get FOMO into this, you have to consider it's gone up 182%. So you want to just pull back one moment and just go, is this price going to drop tomorrow or in the next few days? So you want to just have like a kind of like a good calculated approach that kind of looks at the risks in a healthy way. And if anything's a reassurance, is like hearing Cantor, which they just put an overweight rating at $24, which is incredible. Like, stocks trading at $12, and we get a rating for $24. Though sometimes these rating agencies aren't that correct in that sense, but even if they're not on the target, or even if they're wrong by a lot. It's kind of provides a very healthy kind of analysis that even analysts think the stock's kind of undervalued. You had Jeffries putting a $19 target in last year, 13th of April. So we haven't actually had a lot of coverage on this company in a long time. But when they did, like, these companies kind of valued this company at around this $20 mark. So I think you're in good company that, hey, there is good belief in this company that over time it could actually perform really well. But we don't know how long you have to wait. One thing you want to just like do is pull back and go, in the 6 months, what's happened to the stock? It's basically went from like $8 to $4. Well, and then basically jumped up to 12. So that's a problem. When a lot of time passes and nothing happens, stocks tend to drift down over time. It's obviously popped on this news, and the question is, how long would it take to get emergency approval, and what is their kind of potential revenue if they get approved? So those are the big questions. Going back a year, so this stock was as high as about over $9. So you can kind of see, like, there's a lot of bag holders. If you brought in a long time ago, quite early on, with the kind of promise of potential, that's kind of the situation that you can get yourself caught into. So that's why you want to just like step back, kind of judge things carefully. Though if this COVID drug is as good as they've said it is, and they can get it for emergency use, then the value for the company is incredible. So that we're gonna look at that side and go, this is kind of like a calculated risk approach. If we step back 5 years, then basically the high for this company was last year, $13.83, well, 82 actually. And then previously this company was drifting in like $2. So yeah, like, I think they probably showed some really, really convincing results to really get the stock up. But then obviously time has passed and they haven't actually made as much progress as everyone would like. And it's drifted back down to $4. So in a sense, like, there's a lot of promise and potential in this. It's just a matter of, can you give it time? And currently I think things are going in its favor, that potentially the stock is worth looking at. Let me know what your thoughts are. Potentially you brought into the stock, you might have seen this already, because you've already, like, a lot of people will switch that top gainer tab and just go like, what stock did the best performance today, because that's always quite interesting. I do that a lot. And yeah, this was the interesting one for today. So let me know what your thoughts are. Like and subscribe if you appreciate the effort. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.